Regular stretching has so many benefits like increased flexibility, improved circulation, better resting posture, stress relief, decreased risk of injuries, better athletic performance, reduced muscle tension, improved coordination and balance, improved body awareness, and even pain relief. It is safe to say that it's worth doing. But wait a second! There's loads of different types of stretching. Which one do I do? And for how long? And without hurting myself. The two most common types of stretches are static and dynamic. Static is seen as safer and more suited to beginners. You relax into the position and you're generally in more control of the range of motion. Dynamic stretches uses movement and momentum in order to gain more range of motion. But they're not dangerous to a beginner, you just need to know when to use which technique and how to suit it to your current level. Let's break down both stretching techniques and when is best to use them in your training, and at the end of the video we're going to give you our favorite techniques for beginners to gain more mobility. Static stretches can be held for minutes at a time, which is great when you're already flexible, but when you're a beginner it's way too intense. Instead, break it up into smaller chunks of around 10 to 20 seconds, being focused on your positions, the muscles you're trying to feel, and keeping your breathing relaxed. Static stretching is perfect for cooldowns after training and focused mobility sessions. Let's go through two examples of static stretching. This is the regressed couch stretch. Jenny here is opening up the hip flexors and the quads. You should feel a nice stretch all down the front of it. For the full version of the couch stretch, make sure to check out this video. What we're looking to do here is get ourselves into a position that we feel we're not going to be sick, we're not pushing things too far, we're just aware that something's being stretched. And then from there we check our breathing, make sure we're nice and relaxed, and Jenny tries to squeeze her glute a little bit and try and bring her hip a little bit forwards. Not pushing to 100%, we don't want to do that. From here, after we've held for around 20 seconds, we then swap to the other side, and we do 20 seconds on the other side, taking the pressure off that first side. We then check our breathing, make sure we're nice and relaxed, also assess for any tightness from side to side, and after 20 seconds on that side, we'll then go back to the first side again. So you're going to do 3 rounds of 20 seconds on each leg, and that will accumulate 1 full minute for you, which is going to be way easier to maintain and be consistent with rather than trying to push 100% all on your first go. We don't want that. We don't want you being sore the next day. A static stretch for the shoulders can be applied in the same way using the wall stretch. Now we have wall bars here, but you can do this just by walking your hands down a wall. So Jenny has walked herself down and she's sent her hips back until she has a nice stretch in the lats and in her middle back here. She can hold that for that 20 seconds, keeping the breathing nice and relaxed. And then after that, she can bring herself back up nice and slowly and shake it off a little bit, have another wee breath out, and then she's able to then walk herself back down into the position, seeing can she sink a little bit lower, and then holding for that 20 seconds again, and then she'll repeat that for a third time, and that will accumulate 1 full minute for you. Over time, you can increase how long you hold for as your tolerance improves. Prioritize static stretching at the end of training sessions and as separate mobility sessions, and make sure that you always keep your breathing nice and relaxed. Dynamic stretching is often avoided by beginners because doing a large range of motion at speed seems like an injury waiting to happen. But it's a super beneficial way to stretch. By adding movement to the position, you can gain range of motion that you wouldn't normally get through static stretching, and you also add heat and blood flow to the area. This makes dynamic stretching perfect for warm-ups and supersets. The trick as a beginner is to initially hold back a little. Here are 2 examples of dynamic stretches. Leg swings are a great lower body warm-up that work on multiple directions of the hips. Right now, JP is able to work on his flexion and his extension. Be reserved as you first start with this and just try to feel the muscle being stretched as you go. So you should feel the hamstring, feel the front of the hip as you're doing these movements. Then over time, you're able to start putting a little bit more into it as you warm up. And then after a few weeks, when you're really practicing this, you can put a lot of welly into it and make sure that you're not standing beside anyone as they do it, because you might get kicked in the face. We can also work on abduction and adduction simply by just swinging the leg from side to side. So when we go out, that's your abduction. When we go across, that's your adduction. Again, same thing, nice and reserved at the start. And then over time, you can start to swing up into it. Whenever you first start doing these, 3 sets of 5 reps is absolutely fine. And over time, you'll be able to build yourself up to being able to do 10 reps. And it just feels quite nice. Always make sure that you do both sides or you'll start working on circles. For the shoulders, we can warm them up and improve the range of motion with shoulder circles. JP is doing nice controlled circles forwards right now. And we've also got backwards as another variation as well. Keep it controlled. Don't be flailing around. And over time, the range of motion will start to improve and things will open up nicely. Then after time, you can add a bit of speed to that too. 3 sets of 5 is really good to start off with, and eventually you can build that up to 3 sets of 10. Big point here is that neither of these are dangerous or better. You just need to adjust the technique to suit your current ability. Duration and intensity can be increased gradually. You may not feel like you're doing much at first, but consistently working around what feels like a 70% to you is way more beneficial than trying to push it 100% and ending up feeling sore or injured. But our favorite way to stretch is a lovely hybrid between static stretching and dynamic stretching. We call it having a wiggle. This is where you take a traditional static position and add dynamic movement to it, allowing you to improve the range of motion in a quicker amount of time without stressing your body. Deep lunge rotations are a great example. This is going to target the hip flexion, and what Jenni's doing here is she's moving in the position the whole time. So a little bit of time at the bottom, a little bit of time at the top, and if you're really inflexible, you might just be a wee bit off getting all the way down, but that will just improve with reps. So you can add the thoracic rotation in here. Jenni can add in some hip abduction here by sending her knee out to the side. We can work on the extension of the back hip as well by pushing the hips down to try and stretch out the front of the back hip, and we can also angle the torso as well and get some nice stretch into the spine here in this position. So anything that you can think of is all okay to do. Just move nice and slow, keep your breathing nice and relaxed, and start to experiment. You'll start to find things just relax and you're able to get in deeper positions the more time that you spend in it. So rather than just staying there or trying to move fast, you're just going into a position and coming back out of it nice and slow. Next time you're trying some mobility work, get creative with it and see what you can come up with. Just like anything, stretching is a skill that you can progressively get better at with practice. Over time, you'll find that you're able to tolerate more intense stretching, you'll enjoy it more, and you'll be way more effective at it. There's many more styles and techniques of stretching, but once you've nailed these basic fundamentals, you'll have a whole world opened up to you of new techniques to play with. If you want to know the best place to start and what to look out for, head over to our website, tommorrison.uk, and check out the Simplistic Mobility Method.